Hello and welcome to another episode. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and this is match 2 of Sheoldred, Atraxa, Animar, and Kemba. So we've got our direct damage, infect damage, combat damage, and commander damage. These are four of my better decks. As you've seen over the last couple of months, I've been playing a lot of decks that I built straight from scratch and the bulk I had. So they didn't have any kind of upgrades and hardly like some good cards, but not upgrades and not highly fine tuned. These are more fine tuned over months or years in like Kemba's case to try and get them to be certainly not competitive, but to the point where I can decent track record against my friends and new people that I may play. Last game, match one, Animar won with some pretty fun big stompy creatures. Let's see what happens this time. We roll the dice and Atraxa is going to go first. So we draw for turn, and we will play Orzhov Guildgate. Comes in tapped. Pass turn. Draw over here. I will play Restless Spire. Comes in tapped. And we will pass. Ooh, that's a good card for this deck. Not the land, although the land's important. I will play the plains, return, and pass turn. Sweet. Always, I'm going to play a Swamp for turn and tap it to play one of my favorite cards. I know I saved that a decent amount. I don't know if Bonder's Ornament, Trailblazer Boots, those are things I say are favorites, but Vicious Rumors, definitely a favorite of mine. Ton of stuff that happens off of one black mana. So Vicious Rumor is going to deal 1 damage to each opponent. Each opponent is going to discard a card, they're going to mill a card, and I'm going to gain 1 life. Mill, and then we have to discard. The discarding is the bad part. And we'll do that. Unbound Potential. Go ahead and get rid of a forest because we have a fair amount of lands in the hand over here. Darn, it's very tricky for Kemba because Kemba's got a lot of really good cards in their hand. I guess we'll get rid of Mask of Avacyn. That was the one that gives hexproof, so that's probably a dumb idea, but that's what we do. Alright, that was all from one card over here. We're going to pass. Turn 2, we untap, upkeep, draw. Play Sea of Clouds. That's all we can do. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. Play a Reliquary Tower, tapping both for a Arcane Signet. But no 1-drops, so we'll pass. Gonna play War Room. Oops, I untap, upkeep, draw, first of all. Play War Room, tapping both for Pearl Medallion. White spells cost 1 less to cast. Going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. We're gonna go ahead and play Baradur. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature, which I don't, and it taps for black. We're going to go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Fabled Passage, cracking it for green, so we'll get a mountain. Or forest, rather, not a mountain. It can't be a mountain. But it does come in tapped because we do not have 4 or more lands, so it stays tapped. And that's all we can do over here. We will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play a forest over here. Then we will tap 1, 2, 3 to play Animar, Soul of Elements. A 1/1 that has protection from white and black. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Animar, and creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each counter on Animar. Nothing else I can do with 1 mana, we will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. I'll play another plains over here. Now we'll tap 2 to play Kemba, Ka Regent, a 2/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 2/2 white cat creature token on the battlefield for each equipment attached to Kemba. Still have 1 left because Pearl Medallion made her cost 1 less to cast, but I don't have anything I can play right now. We will go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Going to play Leech-Ridden Swamp. Comes in the battlefield tapped, unfortunately, and no true 2-drops I can play, so we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Thankfully, it's a land. It is a Skycloud Expanse, so I'm going to put that with Sea of Clouds because you pay 1 and tap Skycloud Expanse to make a blue and a white, and Sea of Clouds taps for a blue or a white, so put them together, that's 2. So blue and a white, green, black, Atraxa, Praetor's Voice. 4/4, Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, proliferate. Nothing else we can do, so we'll pass. Got almost all of the commanders out. Untap, upkeep, Draw for turn. Play a mountain. Going to tap Reliquary Tower for a Soul Ring. Regrettably, nothing I can play right now because I don't have the right color combinations. Guess I shouldn't have got rid of that forest. I have a 1/1 that can only go there, and there's no point in really leaving myself wide open. So we're going to go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Cool. Plains, needed that. I will tap 4 to play Hammer of Nazan. It's whenever Nazan or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach that to target creature you control. So I will automatically equip that to Kemba. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has indestructible. So now she is a 4/4. So that makes things easier. Now the numbers are even if I start to upgrade her with other things. Again, I could attack but leave myself open. Not really a point to it just yet. So we're going to go ahead and pass, but I will leave a marker to remind myself that I have an upkeep trigger now. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. We will play an Evolving Wilds, crack it for a swamp. Bit of bad luck there getting multiple cards that come in tapped and then sacked like that. So we can't play Sheoldred on turn 4 as we should. I don't have any 3-drops, so we're going to have to leave ourselves open and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw over here. I'm going to play Sunken Hollow. It comes in tapped. I do not have 2 or more basics, so it stays tapped. We have 4 mana to play with, but we will tap 3 to play Chromatic Lantern. Lands you control have tapped for add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and it itself does tap for 1 mana of any color. Actually, I'm going to do that in a better order. I'm going to tap 4 to play Thran Dynamo, which taps for 3 colorless mana, and then use that to cast Chromatic Lantern. That's the smart way to play Magic. I do have my Flying Vigilance lifelink. That changes things a little bit. So I believe we will go ahead and swing Atraxa at you for 4 in the air. 1, 2, whoops, wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I gain 4 life. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the main reason, because we'll probably get smacked by Kemba, which takes us back down to 4, but at least we're maintaining the life totals. Although that would be commander damage over there. We will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw over here. Play an island for turn. I will tap Arcane Signet and the Forest for 2 green, and then 1, 2, and 3 to play Asceticism. Creatures you control can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control, and I can pay a green and 1 other to regenerate target creature. I'm sorry, hopefully I'm not talking too softly. I'm realizing I'm a little quieter than I normally am, I think. Unfortunately, I'm not playing any creatures to buff him up to make creatures cheaper to cast, so that's a problem. And I'm not really getting any creatures other than the one that costs 3 green plus a bunch more, and I don't have 3 green. So we're going to have to pass. Looks like Kemba might be poised to do some good stuff this turn. This game, rather, as opposed to everybody else. So we're going to make a cat because she's got 1 equipment. Then we draw a card for turn. It's another Plains. Excellent. I will play that. I'm going to tap 2 and play Flowering of the White Tree. Legendary creatures you control get +2/+1 and have Ward 1. Non-legendary creatures you control get +1/+1. So that means this is a 3/3, and she's now a 6/5. So much for the even power and toughness. Alright, here's the thing. We're going to go ahead and tap 3 to play Quietus Spike. But because of Hammer of Nazan, it just auto-equips to Kemba. Whenever Nazan or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature. Quietus Spike is a dangerous one. It says equipped creature has Death Touch, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life, rounded up. I mean, yeah, that seems like a good play. We should definitely smack somebody. They're not doing anything. They will, of course, but even so, at most they're probably just going to play their commander, which means we take some damage when we draw. Not overly concerned right now. Really, Kemba is the only threat. So Kemba gets to decide who they want to take out first. I think they're going to go for poison. 2, 3, 4, and that's it. So you're going to take 4 commander. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to lose half your life rounded up. All right, rounded up. So they're going to lose 20 life. Boom, that's a solid, crazy good hit. Oh, wait, sorry. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 commander damage. So let's put that back. So 2 more of that, so that's 37. So now they're going to lose 19 life. There we go. Still, crazy big hit. Nothing else we can do, but we have a blocker, so we're going to pass. I think at this point, everyone's shaking in their boots, so we're going to untap, upkeep, draw. Yeah, we got a lot of cards in hand that are good, but they're all 4 drops, so we might as well just go straight for a Sheoldred, the Apocalypse. 4/5 with Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. When an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. We're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. I'm going to tap this for 3 and tap this for blue with 1 floating to play Propaganda. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller plays 2 for each attacking creature. We still have 1 floating, and I technically can't really do much with that. So I guess we'll just not bother tapping that and wasting the mana. I guess it doesn't matter. Whatever. We'll do that, and then we're going to tap Sea of Clouds, 2 Swords to Plowshare, Kemba. Nothing on her. Like I said, we shouldn't have gotten rid of the Mask of Avacyn, which gives hexproof, but no guarantee it would have been on yet anyway. So Kemba goes back to the command zone, costs 2 more to cast, and we do gain life equal to her power at the time. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we would gain 6 life. Not bad. These just fall onto the battlefield. We can re-equip them, but it's going to take time because we don't have a lot of mana. We're going to move to combat, swinging 4 commander at you, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gaining 1, 2, 3, 4. Last turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Play the Caged Sun. As it enters the battlefield, choose a color. We're going to choose green. Creatures you control the chosen color get +1/+1. Whenever a land's ability adds a mana of the chosen color, it adds an additional 1. So that should help. Although even, yeah, it's just that should help. That'll be good. Still can't really do much else, so we're going to have to pass. We're going to untap over here. No upkeep trigger. We're going to draw for turn. I'm going to play an Evolving Wilds, cracking it to get a Plains, which we desperately need at this point. Alright, so the good news is that because the Pearl Medallion, white spells cost 1 less to cast, that does negate one of the 2 commander tax pips there. So we just need 1, 2, 3, 4 to recast Kemba. Unfortunately, that's all we can do, but she is now a 4/5, so that isn't bad. And we still have a 3/3. I'm going to move to combat and send that 3/3 at you, 1, 2, 3, because, no, you're not getting away with that easy. And then we're going to pass turn. Now, clearly, it's a bit of a vendetta between these two, and these guys are worried because once those equipments go back on, it's going to be the same thing all over again. So they're going to have to do some things. But I totally forgot all about that, didn't I? So take 2 damage, take 2 damage, take 2 damage from drawing cards. Now over here, we untap, upkeep, draw. We gain 2 life, thankfully. But that is not a thing. So we're going to tap 2 to play Lightning Greaves, moving to equip it. I don't think anyone has anything to stop it. So now Sheoldred has haste and shroud, more importantly. Shroud means it can't be the target of any spells, including my own. So if I wanted to equip something else to Sheoldred, I would have to unequip this first and then do it. But with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we only have 2 mana left. There's nothing we can do. There's no point in swinging out. We're going to just pass turn and try and remember the triggers this time. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw, take 2 damage, play a land for turn that we just drew. Alright, so this does cap for any colors. I forgot about that. So these will be 3 green, 1, 2, 3, and 4 to play Tyrannix Rex. An 8/8, this spell can't be countered. It has Trample, Ward 4, Haste, and Toxic 4. Players dealt combat damage by this creature also get 4 poison counters. We currently have 3 mana up. Nothing we can do with that. Oh, shoot. Nope, yep, 1, 2, 3. We did not have the mana in order to attack because they have propaganda, so we reverse that. But they don't have that concern, so yeah, 4 in the air at you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there we go. Now we got a nice big blocker, and they can't get through it. at least not for a while. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn, take 2 damage. Okay, so this taps for 2 because of Cade's Sun. So 2 green, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play Nyx Bloom Ancient, 5/5 with Trample. If you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much mana instead. I played a creature. Animar gets a counter, so now my creatures cost 1 less to cast. And we do still have mana. It would be 6 mana, but unfortunately it's blue and red, and we don't have anything that needs those colors right now. And this is technically a 6/6, and this is actually a 3/3. Nothing else we can do, but they're looking pretty scary. We're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw, take 2 damage. Now what's unfortunate, okay, that works though. We're going to tap 4 to re-equip Hammer of Nizal. So now anytime we play an equipment, it's going to auto-equip, which thankfully we just drew something that costs 2. We're going to tap 2 and play Black Blade Reforged. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land you control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She's a 10, 12. No trample, but that's commander damage. We don't have the quietest spike on it yet. Oh, and we have this. I don't think I factored that in. Alright, so Kemba is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, 14. And yeah, we're going to swing at you. Now, if you block with your Tyranics, it's going to die. Wait. Propaganda, I cannot attack you. That's part of the problem. Okay. So we're going to have to go ahead and pass turn because I'm not going to attack somebody else and then leave this massive blocker out of the way. So that's what we're going to do. Pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw a card, gain 2 life. Wow, still not a land. Okay. We're going to tap 4 to play Crushing Disappointment. Each player loses 2 life. I draw 2 cards. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then I draw a card, gain 2 life, draw a card, gain 2 life. Still no lands. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to discard down as well. Now we'll go ahead and get rid of it. It's probably a bad choice, but whatever. It's all we're making bad choices. Nothing else we can do. Again, we're not going to swing, so we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I'm going to play a Breeding Pool. Enters tapped. I'm not going to pay to untap it. I'm going to tap for a green, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To play Glissa's Retriever. It's a 6/6 with haste, toxic 3. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And when it dies, exile it. If you do, return up to X target cards from your graveyard to your hand, where X is the number of opponents who have 3 or more poison counters. Problem being, nothing's really going to get through. I'm tempted to swing everything there, because obviously the Tyranics will get blocked by Kemba and to get destroyed, but the Glistener is haste and it could squeeze through, but it can't because it doesn't have trample, and so the cat will just simply block it and die. And then we won't have any blockers against Kemba. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to send Atraxa in the air, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is, it's 12 commander damage, it's getting up there, but we'll leave these guys up to block her. There's nothing else we can do with our mana, and they have to pay 2 to even bother attacking. So then we'll pass turn. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw for turn. What's funny is like this is starting to build up a board state again, and this everyone's ignoring it for these 2. And poor Sheoldred's just like sputtering out, not getting the land they need. Okay, so whenever I tap anything, any permanent for mana, it makes triple. So I'm going to tap this for 3 green mana. And this normally makes 2, so I'm going to tap that for 6. Wow, that's just enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to play Myosian of Life's Web. Actually, it doesn't even need it because it costs 1 less. It enters with a divinity counter on it if you played it from your hand. There's a little divinity counter. It is indestructible as long as it has that counter on it, and I can remove it to put any number of creature cards from my hand into play. I played a creature, however, so that puts a counter there, which means creature spells now cost 2 less to cast. I'm going to tap Arcane Signet for green, making 3 green. Right, so this costs 2 less cash. That's 3, 4, 5. I have 3 green. I'm going to just tap this for 3 red, which is 1 floating, to play Giant Ataphage. A 7/7 with trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of Giant Ataphage. So it just keeps making 7/7 trampolines. It's crazy. However, that puts another counter on there. And Animar is a 3, 4, 5, 5 with protection from white and black, so he can get through on anybody he wants over here. You're at 47, and I think he will go at you because you, well, yeah, no, that's the highest thing. That makes sense. We're going to send the unblockable 5/5 commander at you. No point in sending anything else because that does have death touch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, there we go. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. Well, upkeep trigger, sorry. We make 2 cats. Then we draw. Now we have to make sure we have 2 mana open if we want to attack. Now the problem is she does not have trample. Trample would make this way easier, but there are things in here to give her trample, but we just don't have them right now. You know, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to tap 4 and play Grafted Exoskeleton, which auto-equips. Equipped a creature gets +2/+2, and it has Infect. You like Infect, eh? How about take some for yourself? Whenever it becomes unequipped from a permanent, sacrifice that permanent. So now Kemba is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14, 16. Actually, 14, 17. Which means even if she stacked block, they wouldn't kill Kemba, but they would both die. Yep, that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the pressure on, although that's a concern. And that's going to come crashing back real fast. I can tell. But we do have, they're getting the buff, so we have 3 3/3s to kind of eat up some of the trampoline and stuff over here. So we've got ourselves a 14/17 coming at you with infect. Obviously, you can't take that much infect because 10 infect damage, you lose the game. Kemba, however, does not have trample, so there's no point in trying to block with both. So we'll just go ahead and block with this. Right, because now we have to pay for it. We did, but now that's a trampoline 8/8 coming back at us, and then followed up by this trampoline. So I don't know what to say. I mean, it does look like it's probably going to end up being Animar again, just because it's so huge, and all Animar has to do is try and send some damage. I mean, if I just send Giant Ataphage at Sheoldred, even if it blocks it with the Death Touch, the trample still gets through, so it still make a copy. So it would basically be like nothing happened, but they would lose their commander and not have enough mana to recast it. That's all we can do over here. We're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. Come on, land. It's not a land. But this can kind of help. What we're going to do is we're going to tap 2, play Howling Mine. At the beginning of each player's draw step, if it's untapped, that player draws an additional card, thereby taking additional damage, of course. And then we will tap 2 to play Waste Not. It's an enchantment. Whenever an opponent discards a creature, I make a 2/2 zombie. If they discard a land, I make 2 mana. And if they discard a non-creature, non-land, I draw a card. I did gain 2 life off of drawing, but that's it. We're going to go ahead and pass. On our upkeep, we're going to draw 2 cards, and then take 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going to tap this into Skyclave to make a blue and a white to play Prologue to Phyresis. Each opponent gets a poison counter, and I draw a card. Now I draw a card, and I'm going to take 2 damage, unfortunately, but everybody gets poison. Well, not everybody. Everybody else gets a poison counter. Now, as we said, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I swung in with my Tyrannus Rex, all 3 of those cats could stack block it and kill it, and nothing would get through, and then I would be wide open against Kemba. However, they're still open in the air, and they do have a lot of commander damage, so we're going to swing one more time in the air at you. Although, or should we send one at you? No. Send that at you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 16 commander. And then we move to our end step, and thanks to Atraxa, we proliferate. That's all we can do. We're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I'm going to tap this for 3 green, and then tap this for another 3 green, one of it floating, to play Unnatural Growth. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control. Crazy. I do still have 1 green mana up, not enough to cast anything in my hand. But then we move to combat, and we now double power and toughness of every creature. That means this is now a 14-14 with trample. This is a 10-10 with trample. He 3, 4, 5. He's a 10-10 with trample, and that's commander damage. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna send Giant Ataphage at you, and Nyx Bloom Ancient at you. And well, Animar isn't trampling, so we'll leave that up. All right. So 14 damage coming at you. You can block 5 of it. That's 9, gets through. However, obviously, your commander dies, but it has Death Touch, so this dies, but it got through, so we'll just say that's the token that comes in. And then this, as I said, is a 10-10 with Trample. You're going to block it with this. You're going to take 2 damage, and then probably die to Kemba. Well, not even probably. So then, no end step triggers. We're going to go ahead and pass. So we untap, we upkeep, we make, so these 3 are good to go, and then these 3 have summoning sickness. Then we draw for turn. I think I'm going to go ahead and tap 3 to, well, yeah, no, we're going to tap 3. Unfortunately, we saw this last game, but we're going to play Stratascythe, exiling a Plains from the deck. Put that up there. And it auto-equips to Kemba. So now she gets +1/+1 for each land on the battlefield with the same name as what we just got rid of. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. I love it. But all right, so she's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. She is a 19, 20 something commander with Infect. And that's it though. No trample, no flying, no nothing to get her actually through. So therein lies the problem. Well, and technically she's untapped. Now I can kill either one of them. I'm tempted to go for Sheoldred because they have highest life total and it would be a one-shot because the Infect would kill them. However, we do have quite a bit of commander damage from Atraxa, and then we don't know what kind of shenanigans they may have. If they could somehow double her power and toughness, it would be a problem. So we're going to go ahead and send that at Atraxa. Boom, kabash. Nice, and the unalives. No lifelink, which would be really nice as well. Oh, and we had to pay 2 to attack, so which we do. We still have 1 up, but nothing we can play with it. Thankfully, though, we do have 6 cats to block with, and then we will make 4 more on the next turn. So hopefully that can buy us time to hold off this nonsense until we can figure out something to do. We're going to pass. Oh, I almost forgot. She should have drawn an extra card and lost 2 extra life. I think technically they should have as well. So draw that and lose 2 there. Okay. Well, wait a second. She wouldn't have lost because he was dead on his turn. So we still drew the card because of Howling Line, but we wouldn't have taken damage. Now, untap over here, we draw 2 cards. Still no lands. Wow, that was a bad shuffle apparently. Alright, we're going to tap 2 and play Virus Beetle. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. And then we have to take note of what they're discarding because of the Waste Not. I guess I'm going to discard this Infectious Bite, which is a non-land, non-creature spell, so they draw a card. They'll get rid of this, which is also a non-land, non-creature, so they draw again. Yay, finally a land. And then they will discard for it, so they will get 2 black mana. So we'll play the land for turn, using the 2 black mana to play Elderfang Disciple. Do it again. When she enters the battlefield, each opponent discards card. Suckers! We're going to do this. It's a non-land, non-whatever, so they draw. We'll get rid of this. That's a creature, so they make a 2/2 zombie. And over here, well, we'll get rid of a creature, so you get another. I know it's a big creature and I should keep it, but another zombie. And I still have 3 mana. Did I draw anything I can play for 3 mana? Yeah. I will tap all 3 black mana to play Underworld Dreams. So at least now they're taking a little damage off of that. And we have a bunch of little tiny blockers that won't do much against Trample, but can stop Kemba. I don't have to discard down, so we're going to go ahead and pass turn. This is... Why did I do that? Again! Darn it. Point was, I didn't get the triggers off of this because they're dead. Stupid. But luckily, it's still, they discarded a creature, they discarded a creature, so those are right. They discarded a land, so the mana I used to play the second thing was right. And they did a non-land, non-creature, so we drew a card, which is the land we played. So we should be okay. Theoretically, I'm not entirely sure. Like, the land might have been the second draw, so we might not have gotten it. I don't know. But I don't think it's going to matter too much. If it ends up Sheoldred winning, then we know there was probably something in there. But, alright, so that's all we can do. We'll pass. I don't know why suddenly I'm missing. Like, even that's why I put them all in the center, and I still missed it. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. We'll go ahead and tap that for 3 green to play in Group's Uprising. When it enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, I draw a card. And then whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, I draw a card. We're going to tap this for 3 green, then tap that for 6 with some floating. Well, wait a second. They cost 3 less to cast. So actually, just tapping that for 3 green mana does it. Holy crap. We're going to play the Cleanup Crew. When Cleanup Crew enters the battlefield, choose one. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, gain 4 life, or exile target card from a graveyard. Are there any... Okay, artifacts, right? Totally. I think we're going to get rid of Grafted Exoskeleton. Do we care about that? Or should we get one of the... Yeah, because it's still infect. So we'll get rid of Grafted Exoskeleton. But when this comes unequipped, sacrifice the permanent. That's upsetting. But it's the smart play. So now that costs 4 more to cast. These all fall off and just are on the battlefield. We played a creature, that's going to go up. And we draw a card because of power 4 or greater. I'm going to go ahead and play this command tower. Definitely looking like the Trampley boys are going to win. Oh, and I think I didn't calculate the Cage Sun +1/+1 last time either, but it would have only been a little extra damage. Alright, so these guys can attack, and they're getting their power and toughness doubled. These two are the only ones with trample, however. I don't like all of that nonsense. It's going to talk. They're going to need a lot to recast and re-equip, so we got a little time here. I say we go ahead, and actually, we could probably just swing out because they have. It's going to be. Well, no, they do have 6 3/3s, so we better hold something back. But all right, we've got a 10/10 with trample and a 14/14. No, we've got an 11. We've got a 12/12 with trample and 16/16 with trample. So I'll just throw the 2 zombies in front of, like, one in front of each. That will lower the total damage by 4. So we'll take 24 damage. And when Giant Ataphage hits, makes a 7/7 with trample. Nothing else we can really do. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap over here. Draw for turn. It's a Rogue's Passage, which would have helped before. But I don't think we're going to get there. Because we need a total of 7 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It costs 1 less because of Pro Medallion, so it's actually 6. So yeah, we can tap everything to get Kemba back in, but nothing is going to be equipped to her, and it's going to take another turn or 2 before we can. So I don't see it working because we would need 2 full turns. 1 turn to re-equip the important pieces out of here, like the 2 land ones, and so these 2. And I'm not even sure if quite a spike matters much anymore. What's the 3/3/3? So we really only be able, but whatever. We equip these two, and then on the turn after that, Rogue's Passage through to try and get some major damage, but it wouldn't be enough. But there you go. That's what we got. We got a lot of blockers at least. We're gonna pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. Burn it, draw two. I keep forgetting. We would have drawn an extra one over here. I think we drew an extra one over here too. I suppose I should have played that thing, but whatever. It's messed up because I keep forgetting about that. So I will play the land over here, which we definitely need. Ah, and we still had Underworld Dreams. So 2 damage, 2 damage. My goodness. Yeah, okay. So we will recast Sheoldred. So now they'll take 3 damage per card, and they have to draw 2 of them, which I was forgetting. Because I'm so fixated on those ones, I keep forgetting about Sheoldred. Because while Sheoldred is doing okay, it's not really doing very well, so I was kind of like writing it off. We can re-equip the Swiftfoot boots at least, so it has Shroud and Haste. So we do have a 4/5 with Death Touch and Haste that we could swing somewhere, but that would be stupid. We're going to go ahead and pass, and this time we're going to remember. So they're going to draw 2 cards, untap, do the whole untapping, draw 2 cards, take 6 damage, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, play a Forest for turn, tapping for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to play Nyx Lotus. It enters the battlefield tapped. Choose a color and add an amount of mana of that color equal to the devotion to that color. We still have 2 floating colorless, which we will use to play Thorn of Amethyst. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to play. We saw that last game. Put that down here with stuff that doesn't really change. All right. We now have 3 creatures with trample and 3 that do not. Where's the biggest concern? 6 damage off of drawing isn't great, but we're drawing, so that could get us closer to some more creatures. I think this is the threat. So I think we just have to send, but what kind of, right? Because we have 6 of these. So, and they are still 3/3s. So that's 18 power and toughness that they could then block with. But we got to get rid of them, right? And hopefully one of the Adiphages gets through. And remember, their power and toughnesses are doubled thanks to unnatural growth. And they're getting this 1. So we are looking at a 12/12, 16, and 2 16/16s. If all of the cats blocked one thing, oh, well, yeah, okay. Obviously, I may have, like, done that poorly early on. Obviously, I should have been blocking Nyx Bloom Ancient earlier because that's giving it the mana buff. Not a drastic thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, triple mana is huge, but he's got enough mana now that it really wasn't mattering. And again, as I said last game, this deck needs a lot more card draw because I've only got 1 card in my hand right now. I need that triple mana would have been much more useful had I been able to constantly draw some cards in every turn. But right, we're sending that, and it doesn't matter though, does it? Because right, it doesn't matter because what happens is the total power coming at Kemba is more than the total toughness that she can block with, and they're all trample. So I believe like 23 damage or 22 damage gets through no matter what. So we'll send enough of these to kill Nyx Bloom, and then the rest and Kemba at one of the giant Anaphages, but it won't be enough to kill it. So this will die. All of these will die. And Bajoosh, kaboom. I didn't have the mana up to do the prevent all damage spell I had there. Let's see if we can remember that they're dead. Wow, Animar is really kicking butt these last 2 games. I mean, I could have and should have probably sent the 3 of them there because they would have had to block. I mean, there's no point in dragging the game out. So while combat's technically done, we'll pretend that all 3 of these were coming at you as well. This is a 18/18 that could kill you by itself. 4, 5, 6, 12. This is a 12/12 that can kill you by itself. And this is a 7, so that's a 14/14 that could kill you by itself. So you have to block each one of them. So these all die. That goes away. now costs like 4 extra to cast. We pass turn. Let's see what happens. Because it can't be anything special. That's the thing. We untap. We draw 2 cards. Yeah, we play a land for turn. That's great and all. But we have nothing. I have an exile spell, but there's too many creatures that it wouldn't matter at this point, and it wouldn't have really mattered at any earlier point. So yeah, we would just pass turn. They swing in, kaboosh, big old out of the game. All right, so there you go. Animar wins the second match. I'm surprised. I'm not sure how to feel about it. I mean, I'm super happy. I'm super glad it did so well. I'm like Kemba is probably one of my absolute favorite decks, top tier because it's the longest, it's the oldest deck I have, and I've been put a lot of money into not a crazy amount, of course, but the swords are each like some of those are $20-$30 each, and I put some of the swords in. I put better mana base and fixes the things to fix the mana base because mono white is hard to ramp in that kind of stuff. Atraxa, I did my best to get the kind of cards that balance the lands fast so that they don't all come in tapped or whatever, and they can get the colors you need fast enough and decent. In fact, Sheoldred I'm really, really proud of, but it just didn't do anything this game. And it probably needs a little bit more card draw, but that was largely the land screwed is what stopped that. But yeah, I mean, again, big stompy creatures is not difficult to build. It really doesn't even matter what color it's in, especially if you have access to green in it, because you can do the ramp as well. But even if it's a monocolor that's something else, there's plenty of big creatures in blue, red, white. Angels are huge creatures, that kind of thing. All you need is spells that lower the costs of whatever you're casting in decent mana rocks, and you can almost compensate for ramp. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you saw some cool cards, and I will see you next time.